good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Blacksmith Furnace with me, Robert.
With me, Pete.
Man like Mo out here.
It's the first week of September. That is so scary. I don't know where the year's gone.
9 months deep, you know.
That is crazy.
Straight. It's gone by quick, to be fair.
When you say it's 9 months, I'm just thinking, what have I accomplished? Because 9 months is a long time. That's a whole baby being born.
Yeah.
Crazy.
3 trimesters.
I mean, the year's not over yet, and better still, your life isn't over yet. So, you know what they say, best time to plant a tree 12 years ago. Next best time is right now. Get started.
Who says that?
I read it somewhere. It's true, though. It's not like it's heresy.
No, it's true. It's true. Little wisdom for you, man.
I feel like after 12 years, if I don't have a tree, I'll just buy one.
Okay. All right.
Because someone else planted it 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Just buy their thing.
Trying to be encouraging, and you just have to go the silly route.
I'm trying to be the most efficient. Anyway, welcome to the Blacksmith Furnace. Pew, 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 pew. Who's in the hot seat this week?
I think it'll have to be you, because last week was a 1-for-1 that turned into a few questions, and the weeks before was Mo. So Robert, I think you're in the hot seat.
Yeah, you can hold this one. You can hold this one.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Cool. Let's see. I haven't really got a question. Let me just check my notes. I keep notes for you guys.
How are you gonna not have a question ready and saying I'm in the hot seat? Come on, man. Where's the preparation?
I can rustle something up. So how would you go about walking someone through the Bible who is... Okay, so someone makes the statement, God wants us to be happy. Me having a girlfriend makes me happy. God wants me to have a girlfriend. And not only does God want me to have a girlfriend, he wants me to smash, because smashing makes me happy. How would you go about counseling someone like that?
First things first, please make sure you use some protection. That's the first thing. Only because, this process might take a while. And in between, things happening. So at the very least, use protection. Keep it zipped up. No, keep it zipped up. If you're not, keep it wrapped up. No, let's not get any unwanted pregnancies, any STDs, because this is a process. Secondly, how would I go through this with him? I think I would probably start by going through the Gospels, and then maybe a bit of... I'll start with the Gospels and just start outlining Jesus's life. Probably more to the end, when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he's like, not your will, Lord, but mine. Actually, I think I might start with Jesus in the wilderness for 40 days. Because I think that's the first time where Jesus didn't put his own wants over what God wanted him to do. And probably start there, swing it over to Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus sweat and blood saying, Lord, take this cup away from me, but not my will, yours. And just have a conversation about...
The thing is, he's convinced God wants him to smash.
I mean, if you can show me biblical... you haven't found that, Peter. If you can show some biblical precedent for smashing outside of marriage. What do you mean specifically?
So it's like the...
Does he have to give biblical
the
evidence for
my case? for the specificity of having sex. Where so basically your question is, where in the Bible do we understand that God wants us to have sex outside of marriage?
Yeah, I'll throw that question, and then I'd also direct him to, the story of Jacob and Leah and Rachel is interesting. Just in that, with that whole process, Jacob was really he was living for his desires when it came to Rachel. Beautiful woman, beautiful babes.
You got to
Even
explain that
though,
to me, boy.
because like in hindsight, Rachel, even though like God used Rachel as well as Leah and the other servants, I was gonna say handmaids, to create the 12 tribes, the line of Jesus came through Leah, and like God's plan was always one husband with one wife. Everything else came off as a result of man doing what man wants to do. In the same way with Abraham and Sarah, Sarah decided Hagar would be the one to have the child, and then we get the whole line of Ishmael and all them and them. To be honest, I feel like I'm rambling right now. I think I say, as a Christian, our happiness is not more important than pleasing God and doing what God desires us to do. And a lot of that time, it goes against what we would want to do. Having sex is great. Having sex outside of marriage, not so much. Even in marriage, there are times when having sex is not the best for marriage. It may not bring God glory based on how you're going about it. So you might need to settle, But we need to always put our earthly, fleshly desires second to pleasing God. In the same way when Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, he could have turned the stones into bread and had a quick munch to take away the starvation. But man does not live by bread alone. He could have had, Satan could have given him all the countries in the world, but that would have been displeasing to God. So he said, "Get out of here." And there are and I think there's so many examples of God and Jesus telling people to do something opposite to what they want to do. Even like when he first called the disciples and they were like, "Oh, let me go and bury my father." Jesus said, "Leave the dead to bury their dead." And once you're a Christian, it's Jesus first, you second. And with the case of thinking that, in the case of wanting to have sex with your girlfriend, one, it's not even biblical for you to be having sex with your girlfriend. If you want to have sex, go and marry her. Then at least you've got the covering of God, and just work towards the marriage and hope the sex is worth marrying this babes, And maybe if not first, it isn't. Maybe it can grow. By grace, it can grow to something beautiful. And yeah, and I challenge him or her, so him because he wants to have sex with a girlfriend. I challenge him to find biblical basis for his argument that God wants you to be happy, which I don't think is biblical anyway, and happiness equals sinning is okay in God's eyes, which I don't think is biblical either. But yeah, I've rambled, but that'll be my answer.
So if I can surmise and let me know if I am correct, it's almost like the initial deterrent would be even Jesus laid down his comfort and what he wanted to do for the glory of God. And so
I think that'll be second. I think firstly is, as a Christian, it's God's desires over our desires, and God desires purity from us.
The reason I the reason I actually enjoyed the Jesus denial of self being first is almost like, okay, Jesus denied himself in the pursuit of God's will. And so, like, my encouragement to, like, from your perspective, your encouragement would have been deny yourself as you look through the Bible for where God actually condones this, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So it's like, stop for now, go search it. If you come across something that is like, yo, you can do it, and you have that blessing, then like you've denied yourself for God's glory and now you've been rewarded or whatever. But we both know that you ain't gonna find that. So when you don't find it, then you can just continue in the denial of self that you had started whilst you were gonna go look for it. And then that meshes with your initial advice, remain protected, because more than likely you're gonna slip up as you're trying to find it. So I kind of liked that trajectory, but yeah. So I like that answer.
Thanks.
Cool. My question: how much should one give to the church, financially, in terms of their time, in terms of their effort? How much should one give to the church?
I think there are two answers to this, or two answers I would give. Firstly, as much as God leads you to give. You know, if you spend some time in prayer, in the Word, and you feel God saying, "Give this much," or "Do this," or "Do that," then follow that. If you believe it's from God, even if you get it wrong, you know, I think God will be happy that you like at least try to move in faith, even if the hearing was wrong. So I think that's okay. Secondly, if you don't feel like you're hearing from God about this, I would say give as much that won't make you become resentful for the giving that you're giving.
That won't make you
Won't
resentful.
make you.
Yes, because there's no point in giving an offering to God if you've got anger in your heart, because that's not an offering that God will find acceptable. You know, like you can have the works, but if the heart isn't in line with the works, it should even be heart first, and out of the abundance of love you have in your heart, that's where the works come from. You know, it's not like do works and hopefully my heart will catch up.
I got a very interesting story relating to that. Yeah. So, God, one time I heard God clearly ask me to give someone something financially, and I knew that if I gave it to this person, the whole family was going to be in a bind. Like, we needed that piece, but I felt God saying, "Give it to this person." So I gave it to the person, and I'm now like, okay, cool, God, like, where is this money going to come from? Because we need it. I'm waiting. Money's not coming. I'm getting vexed. Because I'm like, God, like, our family needs this money. You asked me to give it to someone. Like, the person is sitting cush. He's sitting cush. And I'm like, yo, like, it doesn't actually happen. And God used that very situation to challenge my heart. So yeah, like that really hit me deep. It cut deep. But it was a situation where it was used to challenge my heart and to reveal that level of pride, where it's like, I've given, so where's my blessing sort of situation. God provided in ways that I hadn't anticipated, but because I hadn't anticipated or recognized them as his provision, I didn't appreciate it, and I was still like, no, I need the money back. God, like, where's the money back? So yeah, that definitely resonates, but I also recognize that God may push you into a space where you do that so that he can reveal something in your heart to then be like, yo, let's talk about this. But it's a good place to be in, because the Bible's like, God delights in a cheerful giver.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, if you're both happy, should we move on to the topic for today?
Let's do it.
Great. So there's an overall theme. So I've got two topics today, and there's an overarching theme of knowing when it's time to stop.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll let you pick where you want us to start today. Do you want to talk about She-Hulk first and Marvel in general, or do you want to talk about Carnival?
I feel like I'll be able to contribute more to She-Hulk.
Okay, cool. So let's get started. So for those of you who don't know, there's a new miniseries out for She-Hulk. I think it's like a 6 or 7 part miniseries. She-Hulk is Hulk's cousin. She becomes She-Hulk. All of that. It's great. CGI isn't the best. I've heard the story is a bit. I haven't watched it. I don't know if I will watch it. I haven't watched. I don't think I watched much after Endgame, apart from No Way Home. I think that's legit the only Marvel movie. No, and Shang-Chi. So like that, the most Marvel I've done since then. And so I was on the internet last night, just browsing, and I see people are very upset about the latest She-Hulk episode that's come out. And it's because at the end of the episode, they have like these little mini skits. And this skit had She-Hulk. She-Hulk's a lawyer, and her new client was Meg Thee Stallion, UK rapper. No, US rapper. All of that. And then in the scene, they're signing the contract, and then they start twerking together.
I haven't seen that too far.
It was so funny. And then, I'm just here thinking, is this what Marvel has come to? She-Hulk is, a female-led production, it's women doing what women want to do. But I'm just here thinking, is this what we're doing now? Is this maybe I'm old, or maybe I'm just being a hater? But is this what we should be having it in like our Marvel Cinematic Universe these days?
I mean, how do you mean though? Because it sounds as though you're suggesting they've fallen from something. But what have they fallen from?
They've fallen from the greatness that was the first 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What made those phases great?
Just the overarching story that they told as a continuity.
Okay.
And it was easy to follow. You just had to watch the movie. Now it's watch the movie, but also watch the TV show, and then watch this TV show, because this TV show is a prelude to this movie, and then this and that. And it's becoming very messy, and it's going in so many different directions, trying to hit so many different targets of people that it feels like it's no longer one big story. It feels like it's trying to branch into 10 or 11 different types of stories.
Could you argue that it's becoming more like comic books? Because in essence, that's what they're doing. Your comic books, you've got so many different strands of stories being told, and you've got reboots, and you've got all these different branches going off of each story. And it's up to the comic book fan to follow, to keep buying every new episode. So where at the beginning, they started off with Iron Man, with Hulk, with Iron Man, with Thor, with Captain America. The natural progression is they're going to have to start expanding that.
But then I would argue that even in phase 1 to 3, you had that where each set of movies was pretty much its own contained universe, even though it was in the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe. And outside of maybe Thor 2, and I guess Captain America, No, not Captain America. Captain Marvel. I don't think there were any quote unquote bad Marvel movies.
Captain Marvel was sort of phase 2, I guess. And again, it's debatable. So I think in part it's subjective because I don't see them veering away from anything that either the comics did or anything that they've done initially. Initially, it wasn't about these sort of short memeable things. It was whatever the joke is at the time, they're going to try and then incorporate it and as much as they can into the script, into what they're writing. But they had a movie to do that, which takes 2-3 years in production, and so the jokes that you're trying to bring in are relevant at the time you're writing. By the time the movie comes out, they're just part of the script, and you don't realize, oh, it's easy to miss. They're trying to reference this thing or that thing. Whereas with now, what I see as just a logical progression as to what will happen if you're trying to build a comic book universe, and eventually it just has to be more. You can't do the same thing twice, 3 times. It has to be more. And what I'm noticing from the stories, from the series, is they are telling sort of somewhat self-contained stories with references to other things going on in the universe, especially as this next phase is the multiverse saga. It's going to be a lot more crazy. I almost expect that. My thing with Meg the Stallion thing and She-Hulk again is they're just playing into popular culture. Meg the Stallion is black culture, is pop culture now, and so all of this thing with twerking and all this, one thing with She-Hulk is she's got she's bigger, and so they've made references to her backside already. It's just playing into all of that. You get Meg the Stallion on, that's what you're going to do. You get Cardi B on, you're going to have their all that weird.
No. Just because you got Meg the Stallion in a role doesn't mean that she has to be twerking.
But then what else are you getting her in there for? She's not an actress. She's not got overwhelmingly good acting talent. What else are you getting her there in for?
She can act. Look, in the same way. Well, what was I watching? I watched Training Day. No. Training Day.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg's in there. Doing
what?
He was selling. No, hold on.
You're going to get these people in to be, at the worst, parodies of themselves or caricatures of themselves. Meg the Stallion isn't known for her great intellect. That's not what she's presented. She's presented that WAP is what she's known for. So she's gonna come on there and
but that doesn't mean that she can't come up and be a character of high standing and her stature being enough to draw people in.
You wouldn't believe it. And if she had the acting chops to present that, you would be pleasantly surprised by it, but you wouldn't be expecting that. You don't get her in for a cameo to come and be the next, super lawyer and she's super smart. And if she does do that, it's more the surprise factor of, oh, they got her in to do that. But I'm not surprised. If they got Oprah Winfrey to come in there and then she was twerking, I'd be like, what the hell is going on? Because that's not what you get Oprah Winfrey into a show to do. But you get Meg the Stallion on, I'm not surprised that that's what they've got her doing.
Firstly, I think you can't say. What did you just say? Sorry, it was in my head. But
I said you won't get Oprah Winfrey onto a Disney movie to come and twerk.
No, before that. Before that, about Meg the Stallion.
Yeah, Meg the Stallion.
Yes, yeah. So this whole thing, She-Hulk is a created thing with actors. Meg the Stallion can come into a role and act as every other character in this thing is acting.
You get
but acting is a skill set.
Acting
is a skill set. You get Meg the Stallion
acting against a seasoned actor. You see the difference. You don't get Snoop Dogg in Training Day with Denzel and expect them to do the same thing. Like, Snoop Dogg can act. He's been in movies before. He's in Day Shift.
Yeah.
And even in Day Shift, he's not necessarily even believable in the role that he's playing. But this is what I'm saying is I am not
No, but
surprised by
I'm saying that it's not believable because of what you know Snoop to be.
no, not necessarily, because you get Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man, and he's just as believable as Spider-Man as he is in Hacksaw Ridge, as Doss, is it, or whatever, the guy that he plays in Hacksaw Ridge, and that's because they are actors acting. Like, that's what they do. Viola Davis, the same thing. You believe her in Fences, and then you believe her to be is she Amanda Waller? She's Amanda Waller, isn't she, in DC? And it's because
Yes.
they are acting. Like, that's what they do. You get Megan Thee Stallion on there. Is it Meg Thee Stallion or Megan Thee Stallion? Sorry,
Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan.
I don't know. Don't check this.
Well, you get her on there, and unless it's
Megan Thee Stallion.
Right. So this is
Megan
even
Thee
a
Stallion.
somewhat bad example, but you get Exhibit on 8 Mile and you expect him to rap. And then when he does, you're not surprised. But then when you see Exhibit on Power's not the, is it Power? Is Empire? It's not the best thing, but Exhibit on Empire, he's acting. And again, it's like, oh, cool, you're acting. But it's, you get you get her on She-Hulk, unless she's in a rap battle or unless she's doing, something. This is the next thing I would expect from Meg Thee Stallion. This is it.
It's almost like putting the character who plays She-Hulk into a rap battle and expecting her to come with bars. You ain't developed that skill set. You ain't developed that capability. So yes, you can have a ghostwriter and blah blah blah, but you won't be able to come with the same cadence, with the same flair, with the same style. Like there's a certain.
You could act that. You can act that.
You could act that,
but it won't be convincing. Because for the most part, even the guy who does Saturday Night Live, who tries to do, who was doing rap battles with MCs and stuff. The rap battle that he did with Method Man.
Oh,
like
James Corden.
His bars came hard, but you can tell that he's not cut from that cloth.
But even then, and this is the thing with acting, is Falcon. Falcon was an 8 Mile. Falcon was a rapper in 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And he presented a believable rapper, dare I say.
That's the thing. The thing is, I can believe from the perspective of background him having tried that before.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is the actor's job is to make you believe what they're presenting to you. Be it a rapper, be it a business person, be it Amanda Waller, a villain, or be it a suffering.
Also, I'm even saying if we switched, not switch positions, but switch settings. Because obviously an actor.
Oh, okay. So you're not talking. Yeah.
It's natural. But if you put an actor in front of a stage,
right,
on a live audience,
there you go.
You will see a difference.
Right. So I thought you were. No, exactly, exactly that. Exactly that. Yeah. No, exactly that. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. And I don't think
something
Disney.
So go on.
I think Disney are doing what Disney's going to do, which is playing to pop culture and try and get as much views as possible. You use Meg Thee Stallion, she's somewhat popular now, and as I said, black culture now is pop culture. People are going to be excited about it.
But is twerking something you would expect from She-Hulk
as a comedic character?
No. But the thing is, I think in terms of this storyline that I haven't watched it myself, but I've seen the trailers and I've seen different things, like different bits and pieces of it. I think they are trying to portray She-Hulk as a human who is struggling to navigate both worlds of corporate America whilst being She-Hulk, and then recognizing that she is now the poster image of her firm or whatever, because she's She-Hulk. And so that it's almost like this Spider-Man coming of age sort of thing, where she's having to navigate being a superhero but still being a lawyer and trying to find her humanity even with this superpower that she has and stuff. And so that to some degree makes sense. But I do feel like
but then where does the twerking come into that, though?
And it's like I can see the way like their logic would go there,
because she's not trying to be a superhero. She's not trying to be She's not trying to be a superhero. She's trying to be a lawyer. And if
It's
a lawyer,
exactly.
if a lawyer is taking on Meg Thee Stallion as her client, and you're signing whatever, and you're happy, and Meg Thee Stallion is twerking, I can see a flat backside white person twerking with Meg Thee Stallion if they have the opportunity to do it because it's Meg Thee Stallion. It so happens
Absolutely
that She-Hulk
not.
is sexualized in her.
No,
What do you mean
no.
absolutely not? How many white? Sorry, I don't mean to make it racial, but how many times do you see? No, how many times do you see?
I'm saying
people meet
no,
Snoop Dogg and they're like, "Oh yeah, Snoop Dogg, I'm going to smoke with you because it's Snoop Dogg."
Peter, as a professional lawyer for someone of the stature of Meg Thee Stallion.
What stature?
Bruv, she's someone who has millions of dollars in assets. You know,
For what?
For twerking. Yeah.
Twerk it. No. Just because she's got that. Just because she's got her money from that, you know, doesn't mean that the professionals that she's getting to represent her have to be ratchet as well. You know.
Yeah, but this is the other thing I'm saying is black culture is pop culture. People like you see this all the time with Miley Cyrus twerking, even though she hasn't got anything behind her trying to twerk, because this is what the culture is. And so I see it as in the same way as you have Snoop Dogg going into meetings or whatever with people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna smoke with Snoop Dogg because it's Snoop Dogg." You have people going to meetings with Meg Thee Stallion, they're gonna twerk with her because it's Meg Thee Stallion.
I want to skirt this back. I want to skirt this back to just the thought of progressing the story, and that's essentially what I see these things as is story. So like She-Hulk, all the comic stuff is progressing the narrative, is progressing the story, and the question is, does this progress the story? Does this is this like a cheap gimmick, or does it progress the story? If it is a cheap gimmick, is it necessary? Should it be there? But what I was also thinking is, in terms of comics, those things are flung out on like a weekly to monthly basis. There tends to be a tight turnaround, drawing from material from pop culture, comic, normal life and stuff. But at the same time, it's still progressing the narrative. There's a character that you're trying to make lifelike and trying to progress it. But with that quick turnaround, you're almost afforded the luxury of slipping things in, drawing from different spaces, and also making mistakes. But in terms of a film, as you rightly said earlier on, Peter, like these things take time to like just produce. From its conception to its delivery, it takes time. It takes much longer than a weekly or monthly comic. And so I don't believe that films are able to have or to have the same liberties and luxuries as a comic book, even if they're drawing from there, just by virtue of how much effort and how much time goes into it.
And I think
we can go for it.
So I was just quickly. I think one of the problems with American comic books, if you would like to compare it to, like, let's say Japanese manga, is that there's no real end goal in sight. They're just telling stories. It's almost like they're telling stories for like telling story's sake. And that works for that works. It works, but it also doesn't work. That's why you have characters like Batman who don't really have any real character development, because if he did,
there's only so much you can do, and afterward you've got Batman. Yeah.
But with movies, movies have, and even TV shows have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know, you start somewhere, and you have an end in mind. But with all these Marvel shows, I'm finding it very difficult to see where they are going towards. You know, even if you don't know who, like, the big.
But you're not watching all of them, are you?
No. Hold on. I'm not watching all of them because there's so many. But like, if you take phase 1 to 3, for example, you know, so like you'd have a movie beginning, middle, end, and then there'll be the after credit scene, that is kind of leading on to the overarching
Not all the time.
arc
Not all
of
the
the thing.
time. Not all the time.
Not all the time. Not all the time. But sometimes. But like you can see the journey that they're going on. You know, you can see that Thanos is in the background, or we're going to introduce this new character next. You know, it's pushing the story forward, and you get, and like even if like we knew that Thanos was going to be the villain a lot earlier than Thanos was introduced to into the story.
Yeah.
And I think who they want to make the new Thanos in
Kang the Conqueror.
Kang, yeah. And I think there's two problems. Firstly, the characters that they have in this new wave of Marvel just aren't as engageable or as recognizable as the first set.
Why?
Because these guys don't know what they're doing and they're picking crap characters. And X-Men isn't under Marvel yet.
No, X-Men is under Marvel, and X-Men's been referenced already in the Miss Marvel series. At least mutants have already been referenced in the Miss Marvel series, and in She-Hulk. So this is the thing. I think maybe your expectations are skewed, or not skewed, but based on phase 1 and 2, your expectations aren't going to allow for what they're doing, because they're telling a much larger story, and every series that they've done so far has added to the story. So She-Hulk had a reference to Wolverine in one of the newspaper slides, because like man with metal claws fighting.
Yeah,
they're already planting these seeds. They've already planted the seed for World War Hulk with Hulk. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Hulk is going off somewhere. We don't know where, but they're already planting seeds for that. It's all sort of heading. She-Hulk is also going to bring in the Daredevil character from the Netflix shows and then fold him into the universe more with a more solid sort of connection. So they are telling these stories, and if you're looking at the fact that they are going with a multiverse saga, it makes sense to me that it's going to be a lot more that they're going to have to cover, which is why they're having all these random TV shows as well, because you can't.
But then the way they're covering, but the way they're covering it is not engaging. Like Eternals was not a good movie. Shang-Chi was all right. Shang-Chi would have made it in like the first phase of movies, you know.
Yes, it would have. And not every movie is going to be a hit. Shang-Chi was one of the best Marvel movies. Like Shang-Chi was one of the best.
Shang-Chi was really
Marvel
good.
movies.
Shang-Chi was really good, but Shang-Chi was better than 4-1.
I'd say so. No, because 4-1 had that novelty factor. It was new. So that's the other thing, is that we're ignoring the fact that a lot of these also have that novelty factor of, they're doing something new. This is their third go around, so they have to do something different. Like I think it's different. I don't think it's less engageable at all, because there's a lot more representation now. There's a lot more. If you want people if you want accessible characters, you've got your Muslim girl, you've got your bisexual whatever, you've got your gay characters left, right, and center. There's a lot more for people to access. So actually, I don't.
Yeah. But how many of these characters are like actually good
to their various communities? I think they're all really good.
Like no. You know what? In Avengers, we had two: Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow. Add Hawkeye if you want to in there as well. You know, that was the Avengers. That is a good 6 people to like build your universe around. You know, so far, who would you say are the 6 of this next phase, and are they as good as?
This is the problem. This is the problem, I think, with your expectations. You don't need another 6. It has to progress from there. It has to evolve. You don't need another 6.
But they're going to do more Avengers movies, so there has to be a new set of Avengers.
Yeah, there'll be another set of Avengers. It doesn't have to be the ones before.
Okay, and
And
like,
the
even
dynamic
if
doesn't have to be the same as the ones before.
definitely, but if we're having a new set of Avengers,
Mm.
who are the new set of Avengers, and are they as watchable, even if they're watchable for different reasons, as the last set that we just had?
I think whoever the next Black Panther
So
is
we've
going
got
to
Doctor
be.
Strange,
Sorry?
Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, Ironheart.
Yeah. You've
You
got
can
Adam
hold.
Warlock. You've got Adam Warlock coming. You've got what's her name? Because she's not going to be a villain. The girl that Charlize Theron is playing, the daughter of Mephisto. I forget her name. You've got her. You've got Miss Marvel, the little girl. And you're going to have She-Hulk might not even be an Avenger, but you've still got Bruce Banner, you've still got Thor, you've still got Captain America to some extent, you got Falcon, Winter Soldier. You got a few.
But does that sound like as engageable as what we had?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah.
You,
With the
what do
stories
you
that
think?
depend on the story they tell, yeah.
What is this?
Do you know what? I'm not
Is Mr.
clued up
Frozen?
on comics. I shouldn't be.
No,
Am I still
he's
there?
not. You're not frozen. You're there. You
Yeah.
just look like you're sleeping.
You're okay.
Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not as clued up on comics the way that you guys are. My main concern is just the story, how you man telling the story. And Peter mentioned something that rings true, in that it's almost like trying to leave the loop as open as possible to keep stories churning out.
Mm.
Like before, so it's like the Batman trilogy, Dark Knight. That was a beginning, middle, end. It was a trilogy, but like each one was self-contained, but each one still led onto the other one. And it's like that's how. So even with the old comic films, Superman 1, Superman 2, it was self-contained. You can watch this, you can have a good time. The old Batmans with the Mr. Freeze, with the Penguins, with all of them, and they're like, these are taking it back. But these films were self-contained. These films progressed the narrative. It told a full story of a character. There was development, there was whatever. Now it almost seems as though it's for the novelty of churning out films about this character. The novelty of having another Batman film come out, or the novelty of having another Spider-Man film come out. I think Spider-Man, they're pretty good at weaving in a narrative and weaving in a character development within that, where there is an element of growth with Spider-Man anyways. I think his his age and stuff like that kind of works well for him. That there is a sort of like character development. But yeah, the rest I'm just like, it just feels like you man are just churning out stuff for the sake of churning it out.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. I think that actually that's what they're not doing. I think that's kind of what Robert's problem is they aren't just doing another Iron Man story. They've killed the dude off. They've given Captain America his happy ending. Like Thor is the one that we don't know, is he riding off into the sunset or not, because he's supposed to be, be done with things. So I think the problem is they're actually going off and they're actually getting new people in and not trying to
so
churn out new stories.
when I say they're churning out new stories for the sake of churning out new stories, it's almost like they've made the universe so open-ended that there isn't an end in sight.
Because we know that there's the Kang the Conqueror. That's going to be the end of this phase. Same way Thanos was the end of sort of phase 2. Kang the Conqueror is the end of phase 3. However they defeat him, that there is an end in sight.
Just the way that the comics movies are geared at the moment, even in terms of like the succession of films, and you miss if you haven't watched X, then nuance within Y may not hit as hard and stuff like that. Yes, I get it from the perspective of that's how comics work. If you haven't watched Spider-Man 1, if you haven't read Spider-Man 1, you might not understand why in Spider-Man 3 X is happening. because there is there is like a sequence, and it's building on the story that was previously said. But historically, film specifically has been very self-contained,
Right. Yeah.
and the spillover hasn't been so pronounced. But within the comic book, especially Marvel side of stuff, the spillover is so pronounced that I've essentially stopped watching Marvel films because I'm just like, I just don't have the time to keep up with it.
To some extent,
And that for me is the qualm. So and even with this specific Iron She-Hulk situation and borrowing so much from modern culture in a film, for me, that's if it was a comic, I'd be like, cool. They could have wrote
it's
that
a
last
series,
week.
though.
It is a series, but in terms of production, the production timeline is what is bugging me. Because if it was a comic, they could have written that last week, come out this week. Twerking could be in that. Next week we've moved on to something different. But with this production, fam, there must have been a plan inside. There must have been like stuff scheduled for Megan Thee Stallion's calendar for her to be able to come in, recording, edited, color graded, post production, bro, you man put in mad work for a dumb cameo.
Well, I think we've gone round and round for a bit. I think
Well,
I'm
I
happy for
guess
us to just.
I guess
Okay,
the end you were trying to come to was what Marvel should know when to stop.
Yeah. Do you think it's time for Marvel to stop, or do you think it's okay for them to keep going?
I think that's the wrong question, because at the end of the day, they're trying to make money. Would you ever say to someone, stop making money? And if the shows keep making money, they're going to carry on doing them.
I don't know if all the shows will continue to make money, because
They clearly are. If not, they wouldn't be investing in it.
I mean, Thor, what was it? Thor: Love and Thunder didn't make as much as. I don't think it did make as much.
It didn't lose money. No, it didn't lose money.
Yeah, but
we
at that level,
these aren't necessarily being done for love of the craft, and that's why a lot of big time directors hate on the Marvel movies.
And that's the issue that I have. I don't think it should stop. But I think they should like put in the work.
Yeah, so but I just think that I was going to say that at this level, I think that just not losing money is enough for the amount of money that goes into it.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I said that not losing money isn't enough at like this level of production and money you're putting into it.
For who?
For Marvel.
For them as a company, or for you as a consumer?
It's not for even Marvel no more. Called Disney.
Or Disney.
Because I guarantee you, they stop making money, they will stop making them and move on. And that's the whole reason why the whole shared universe thing is something that everyone else is trying to jump on. Universal tried to do it with their monsters. DC's been trying to do it with the Justice League. Like, they as a company, their job is to make money. These things are making money, even if not just on the movie end, on the toys, on the licensing, on the whatever they're making, on the product placement within the movies. Like, you see Sony stuff pop up in the movie, you think that's money, man. That's money they're paying. So as long as it's going to make money, they will carry on doing it. As I said, the problem I think is that's almost the end goal. Is it making money? And it's not necessarily the love of the craft. Now, you do get your directors and your actors that are putting in the work. The Russo brothers did something incredible with the Infinity Saga and Captain America. I think they did Captain America, whichever one. So Ryan Coogler did something amazing with Black Panther. So you do get your directors that come in and do something special, and that always hits. But then you also get the movie by numbers, the formula, this is what makes money. You drop some jokes, you have some good fights, that's why did we have so many Transformers movies? Because Michael Bay was making money, even though some of them were terrible representations of the Transformers cartoons. Like we can't be ignorant of that and just be like, oh no, it has to be a movie that I enjoy, because it's a numbers game for the most part.
I must enjoy the movie.
And then that's on you.
But I guess as well, a good distinction, which you mentioned, Peter, is the difference between the film and a series. So obviously with a series, it's building a much longer narrative, much longer whatever. A film should be more self-contained, should be progressing something. You may be able to take more liberties with a series than you can with a film, because hopefully you can like rebalance it in the next one or whatever. But yeah, I think for me it's the craft of storytelling that's bugging me, especially within the film, because it's much different. Like the medium is different. The medium demands a lot more. The medium takes a lot more time. And if we're going to almost abandon the craft for pop culture or just for quick wins, then I'm just like you're not doing the craft the justice that it deserves. And that's the thing that bugs me. It's like if you're gonna tell a story in a film form with all that goes into it, do it well, or don't do it at all.
That's been one of the major critiques of Love and Thunder, as Robert, you were pointing out, is Taika Waititi seemed more interested in building jokes into it than in actually progressing the story and using the characters. You've got Natalie Portman, you've got Christian Bale, actors that can act, and I don't think they use them anywhere near as much as they could have, because it was more about the jokes and so. Yeah, those will get critiqued, but again, if they make money, they'll keep making them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we jumping on to the other part of the question?
I don't know, because we've got like.
Yeah,
I guess we could touch on it a little bit, just scratch the surface. So Carnival was back again. Ooh, party time, party time, party time. I didn't go to Carnival because I'm old and it's far. And like trying to get back from Carnival is the worst thing ever. Like they close all the close stations and you have to get a bus and then get a train. It's disgusting. So anyway, like all carnivals, like all the carnivals, there were stabbings. I think one rapper got killed. All the carnival stuff.
For real?
Mad.
Yeah. There was one rapper who came down from like up north. He got stabbed and killed at Carnival. And so, with all these, and I think they said there were like over 300 arrests at Carnival this year. And I think they said like 50 police officers got injured. One female officer was sexually harassed. All of that stuff. And so people are saying that, Carnival should just stop. It's loud, it's messy, it's violent. It's not what the people need anymore. And I think this is the wrong conversation because I don't know how much Peter especially has been to Carnival.
Never been.
Yeah, like I've only ever been to Carnival like for work. It's never been to go and turn up.
Of course.
I don't know if Moses can say the same.
I've never been to Carnival,
I don't believe that.
I've never actually been to Carnival. Do you know what? When I was younger, Carnival was almost like conjured up the same image as Brixton. Because you know that if you go Brixton, like you're asking for trouble. And it's the same thing. I know that if I go Carnival, especially with the man that I'm going to go with, I'm asking for trouble. So I never went. Because I won't go Carnival on my ones.
Yeah,
that's just slipping. I'm not going to go... Back in the day, I was like, I'm not going to go with gal. I'm going to be on a sweet boy tip, and that's slipping. And I'm not going to go with the man them, because that's even more... Like, it's mad. So I just didn't go. Didn't go.
Okay, well, since we have like very minimal experience between us, What do you guys think with the violence that seems to be happening more and more at Carnival? Is it time to just lock off the thing?
So do you know what?
And to be honest, it's not just the violence. Like I've been hearing stories of people urinating and like defecating outside people's doors. The amount of rubbish that's left after Carnival is mad. The amount of rubbish that's left after Carnival.
I mean, they're there all day, but you know, I don't think we should. I don't think Carnival should get locked off. I don't think Carnival should get locked off. I had a few mandem who went there, or I know a few mandem who went there, and their snaps and stuff were like they were just having fun. They were enjoying themselves. They were doing their thing. I saw this one video of people standing on top of a bus stop. I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah.
And then it collapsed, and then one woman's head got caught in it. Like it was just mad. I don't know why you would do that in the first place. Like say it can hold 25 people's weight. Like it's not gonna work. But I feel like culturally, this is one space that we own. That this is our space. And yes, there are bad apples, there are bad seeds, but I don't think we should throw out the baby with the bathwater. There should be more ways of there should be more creative ways of trying to police, trying to keep things safe, stuff like that. There's always going to be a bad apple. There's always going to be something that happens. But just because of that doesn't mean that it should get locked off. Because man, them are just trying to vibes. Man, them are just trying to have fun. They're just trying to like shake a leg. Why not tutu gyal? Even though I don't condone
slow
that.
wine.
You know, like that. Even though I don't condone that. But yeah, they're just trying to catch vibes. And I don't think because of a few people, the whole thing should get locked off. Like man, like the brother lost his life, and that's a real shame. That is a real shame. But we don't know the full story. We don't know if there's history, if there's a background. We don't know. And I'm not trying to say that to be like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, victim blaming. What did he do? I'm not trying to do them things there. But I'm just like, yeah, we all we know is he got stabbed and he died. We don't know what happened. We don't know if he went with Mandem. We don't know if he instigated anything. We just don't know. So yes, there are dangers, but I feel there are dangers. It's like saying, should we lock off football because of football hooligans?
But then they put certain things in place. Like if there's a pattern of certain behaviors under certain circumstances, and that pattern is very clearly repeatable, very predictable, I think you should do things to change stuff. And
yes,
I don't know the extent to which such things have been done. You know, is it more police presence with our relatively useless police that we have in this country? Is it restricting alcohol selling? I don't know. But if there's a pattern, and it seems to be there's a pattern, it seems every carnival there's these things going on, then something needs to be done about it. The ultimate thing I think ends up being locking it off. And as someone that doesn't go or doesn't know much or doesn't care much about it, it's easier for me to say, but I'd be down for
it. Yeah. I say don't lock it off. If they were like, no, we're locking off Carnival, I know that Mandem will be up in arms and the race card would be thrown around a lot, because it's the one space that culturally we own. Like Notting Hill Carnival was started, if I'm not mistaken, was started by the Caribbeans as just a space that they can just have fun. It was like if it was to get locked off, then it would be a case of, yo, why is it that our thing is getting locked off?
Because you're not having fun anymore. Why are you assaulting people? Why are you stabbing people?
These times you got Millwall fans coming from their teams, smashing up bottles and like hitting people on the head. Like when I lived beside a football stadium, you couldn't walk home after a football match. There was police presence. There was like police on horses, and you couldn't walk home because the crowd was very intimidating. Half of them were sloshed out of their brains. Like they were doing stuff that they shouldn't do. And this was like what? This was about 8 years ago. And so again, it's just like, And football matches happen a lot more regularly and consistently than Notting Hill Carnival. That's 2 days in a year. Yes, we need police presence. Yes, we need these things. And I know police officers who have gone there and they've bust 2-2 wine. They've been given free food. They've come back home. They're happy. So yeah, for me, I'm like, let's not lock it off. Let's think about more creative ways in which we can deter crime, knowing that we're not going to stamp it out 100%. That's virtually impossible. We could do like a disinfectant sort of thing where it's 99.99%, but the 0.1 stabbing kind of slips through. But yeah, I don't think it should get locked off. I feel like if it does get locked off, it's going to cause more problems and people are going to feel a lot more sensitive about it, which isn't going to be helpful. And there will be a lot of questions kind of thrown around because there are other movements that happen that can be a lot more violent, historically have been a lot more violent. It's like even sport, like, yeah. So let's lock off football matches then, because man, they've been like racial slurs and stuff have been coming out, even if it isn't a physical thing, but racial slurs have been coming out.
Yeah,
This brutality and stuff. I'd be happy. Let's lock off football.
Again, I don't care much for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm saying.
But then the thing is, you see them making adjustments. You see people getting banned. You see them implementing different things, to try and address that situation. So as you said, if there's ways to deal with it, then it should be dealt with. But I think it comes back to that question: is at what point are you just, do you say, okay, we can't deal with this, we can't do anything about it, and then lock it off?
And there is an onus, especially with Carnival, where it is very much community led. It is very much community led. I don't believe there's one centralized organization that's heading it up. I don't know. There could be. I believe it's more community led and everyone's kind of collaborating. In a space that's more community led, there is a lot more onus on that very same community to ensure that things are safe. Yes, the police.
But I think the problem is. So I was going to say, I think the problem is Notting Hill has become a very gentrified area. So what it may have looked like when Carnival first started, it looks very different.
Yeah.
Can I also just point out, if something is to get locked off, no one, and especially, you say community led, no one's going to say because we were messing up too much. No one's going to say that.
Yeah.
No one's going to admit to that.
No. They're going to pull the race card.
Yeah.
They will pull the race card. And so if you're going to lock it off, you need to anticipate that and not be like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. No, you need to anticipate it. And that's again where I'm like, we need to take ownership of this. And to be fair, in lead up to this on social media, I started to see a lot more noise around, don't be wasteman when you go out. Have fun. Like, if you want to dance with a girl and she says no, leave her alone.
No means no.
Like consensual, like all of these stuff there. Like, there was a lot more on my feeds anyways. There was a lot more noise around like, we didn't have it last year because of lockdown, COVID and everything. This is the first year it's back. Like, don't be wasteman. Like, enjoy the time, enjoy the space, do what's right. And that was part of the community trying to take onus and ownership over it. Unfortunately, as I said, I don't believe we'll be able to stamp out evil in its entirety this side of heaven, this side of eternity. And even on the other side, hell is hot. So I don't think they should lock it off. I think the community needs to come up with new ways, even if it's like body cams or whatever being placed around the areas and stuff like that. Still, like remote control CCTVs placed in different spaces, more residential areas where people tend to defecate, having stuff there to be able to deter people, like that.
That's so bad to me. Yeah.
Like like creative and ingenious ways to be able to do this, knowing that there's going to be a budget that's going to have to be put aside for these things. And so again, if your budget don't reach body cams, don't suggest body cams. But yeah, just ways in which we can truly take ownership over this and get a space that we would feel happy and safe taking our kids to.
Yeah. That's fair.
All right, let's round up. I think carnival should carry on, but the problems aren't carnival problems. It's culture, community problems.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to be sorted out. Do your job, Sadiq Khan. But anyway, hookups.
Cool. I could go first with hookups.
Yep.
My hookup is a new movie, Day Shift, on Netflix. It's essentially what would happen if Van Helsing was a relatively average black man with baby mama drama and everything. And speaking of celebrity cameos, Snoop Dogg's in there playing a very, I think, hard to believe vampire hunter. So yeah, no, check it out. It's
Vampire Hunter. Yeah,
Snoop
that's
Dogg's a vampire hunter. He does like a lotus kick at one point, and it's so obviously not him. It's just bad. But yeah, no. Yeah, if you want to see Van Helsing as a Crip, just check it out. But it's not too crazy. It's funny. It's nice. So yeah, check it out. Day Shift on Netflix.
I'll go next. So we just came back off of holiday. That's why I am finished. But my kids just got introduced to the Nintendo Wii.
Ooh.
Tell me why. Bro, we're by the beach. Then I wanted to stay in the Airbnb to play Mario Kart more so than going to the beach. So we're literally at the beach, and Noah's like, I want to go back and play Wii. But we're like, yo, we've checked out. You can't go back. It's like, oh. So yeah. But it reminded me just how much fun like the Nintendo lineup is for a community, for like local multiplayer fun. So yeah, my hookup is the Nintendo Wii. You should be able to get it for dirt cheap at CEX, with the controllers and the games and stuff, dirt cheap. So that's my hookup. Nintendo Wii, Mario Kart on the Wii, get you them steering wheels and stuff, get the kids out, get them playing, and then you've got time to do whatever you want to do because they're behind the TV playing Mario Kart. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Wii Sports is another good one.
Yeah.
And Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is another good Wii game as well.
Yes.
So get involved.
Yes.
My hookup is a Netflix documentary film thing, 2 episodes long. Each one's about an hour long. It's called Untold: The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist. It's a bit mad.
The NFL player.
Yeah. So like, and this was catfishing before catfishing was a thing. So he had this like this NFL guy in like college, and then he meets this girl online, but it's really a guy pretending to be this girl.
Stress.
And then the way he's just weaving the story, and then the NFL player wants to meet the girl, and so the guy says, "Oh, I'm her brother. She died. She had leukemia." And so he went to go and have the best season of his life, dedicated to his dead girlfriend, only for it to be realized that there was no girlfriend. This person that he was in a relationship with wasn't a real person.
That's wild.
It's so crazy. And then the person who was catfishing, I don't even want to spoil it. No, go watch it.
That's mad.
I swear that and so they got the person who was catfishing and the person who catfished together in the documentary. Not together, but they're getting both their sides sides of the story. And every time I see the person who catfished, their face is so punchable, and they're just talking about so much stupidness, like, oh, I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to live this double life pretending to be this girl. Da, 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 da. Bruv, it was intense.
That's why
mad.
It was crazy. It's 2 episodes, but it was definitely a good watch.
Cool.
All right, cool. Let's sign out. Shout out to Rude, intro out to music. Calvin Turner, Audrey and Mosen logo. Twitter at The Furnace UK. Instagram, TBS Furnace. Email, tbsfurnace@hotmail.com. Soundcloud.com/The Blacksmith First, no apostrophe. On all good podcast websites and apps. The Blacksmith Furnace with an apostrophe. And that's it. So, this is the Blacksmith Furnace signing out. Blah.
West Side.